So you know it is, we got Mama Certy in the building.
Come on, certified.
Okay, it's a long time coming, man. It's a long time coming. But yeah. So just let's get into it. Like, how did you get that name Certy?
So I got the name Certy when I was about 15. I was living in Bristol. I'd just been put into mainstream foster care, and maybe you could say I was in with the wrong crowd, and the name kind of stuck around that time.
Okay, fair enough. But like, how was growing up for you? Because like, as you said, you're in foster care and whatnot. So yeah, can you talk on that?
Yeah, so I was put into foster care around 2 years old. Luckily, my situation is a bit different, where the family that fostered me had fostered my mum and my auntie before me. So they were, like previously involved in my family. So that was kind of different. And I grew up with them till I was around 14. And then, I was put into mainstream foster care at the time after my foster dad had pancreatic cancer and passed. God rest his soul. He was an amazing man. I loved him dearly. And since then, life has been lifing. So, when I got put into mainstream foster care at 14, I think that really changed things a lot.
Yeah. Like, how was that experience being, like, I'm guessing you've been in foster care for most of your teenage years, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, my whole life
Your
I've been
whole
in
life?
foster care, yeah.
So like, yeah, so how does that feel, if you can talk on that?
To me, it's a funny question how it feels. I feel like it can feel lonely at times. It can feel like no one else really knows what you're going through. Because I feel like, specifically when it comes to family, all situations are different and all families are so different. So every foster care situation is very different. So how you feel on it is going to differ in every situation. So I think it's hard to like put into words how it feels. I think it's subjective.
No, definitely, man. But yeah, so let's talk about like your childhood. Like, how were you as a kid growing up? Were you were you a good kid? Were you the smart one? Were you bad behaved? Talk on that.
I think I was misunderstood. I think I was the cheeky kid. I was bright. I was the bad kid at times as well. I was just, everything wrapped up into one. And I think that's why I was a bit misunderstood at times.
Definitely. But you know what? It does feel like you were kind of known on social media prior to that freestyle. So like, first, let's talk about how long have you been on the internet for?
So I've had social media since, Instagram first came about. I mean, really and truly, if we want to get into it, back in the days, like MSN days, I've had social media since then. Okay. I wasn't in the Bebo and MySpace era, but from MSN, I was online. Okay. And I think it's a great tool for networking. I think, that's what it was called. Back in those times, it was more a social network than social media, which I think is funny that those two words and names have changed. But yeah.
Definitely. But like, so obviously I see that your TikTok's doing decent. You have a decent number of followers on TikTok. So like, what kind of blew you up prior to that freestyle?
So I would say what blew me up on TikTok is just me speaking my mind, speaking my truth on how I feel about certain situations that I saw going on. And other things like me dancing. I would post on TikTok what I feel to post, you know. It was just something that I enjoyed doing. And I guess I got quite a few followers from that.
No, but cool.
Obviously, certain topics that you speak on are going to be more
controversial than others.
Right, and they're going to get more traction than others. Certain algorithms on certain topics, you know, that's going to create more views on a video. But I don't really pay attention to the views that you get. I pay more attention to the comments and the kind of things that people will say, because I find it interesting, the comments that I made. I find it interesting to see different people's perspectives and opinions on certain things. So
definitely. But let's get straight into it. Like that freestyle, how come you why did you do that freestyle?
Why did I do that freestyle?
Yeah,
because I love music, and I've always wanted to get into music, if I'm being honest. But I think it's more a thing of, you know, never really believing in myself, never having the, you know, like the confidence that that's something that I should do. And then this year just thinking, do you know what, I'm going to go for it.
Okay, no.
And just doing it.
I hear it. But I was going to say, with that, because obviously in the freestyle you use the N-word, if I can say that. But, so how comes you use that? Because I kind of feel like did you use that as a way to kind of gain traction for yourself, or?
No, so I would never like use a word like that I know that has the connotations that it has to get clout or to get any kind of reaction. To me, that word has been normalized, you know, like to this day, people will call my phone and be like, yo, wagwan, mate. And it's like, where that word's been normalized to me, where people that I'm around and myself are taking back the power from that word, it's a very different perspective to what has been portrayed online, you know. I'm being called a racist, I'm being called all these things under the sun, and I just find it really offensive because that is so far from my morals and what I stand for.
I hear that 100%, but at the same time, like, don't you think, like, listening back to the track when you made it and sharing it to your friends, didn't they say like, yo, like, I feel like you cut that bit out or change the wording? Because fair enough, if you use that in your own friendship group, that's cool. But a lot of people won't really take kindly to that. So like, like, did anyone co-sign it, or did you just say, I'm gonna just go with it anyway?
Yeah, so a conversation was had, and they said to me, but you're mixed race, your family's black, so, you know, what can people really say? Like, why do people think they can say anything? And it's like, if people have been coexisting with me in the real world, with me singing the word in rap lyrics that it's been used in for years now, probably over a decade, that word has been used in many, many songs, then people would have pulled me up a long, long time ago about it. Now, what I didn't anticipate was the outrage and the backlash I got from it. I didn't believe that me, myself, looking the way that I did was going to have the outrage that it had. Because I've seen other girls that look like me use that word in songs before.
In the UK?
And yes, in the UK, and there hasn't been this kind of backlash. Not to do with racism anyway, in my opinion. You know, gassed up lighties.
They're mixed though.
And I am also. I mean, I don't really think like they look more mixed than me. And I'm not going to get into a competition with who looks more mixed than who. I think that's ridiculous. But, you know, it's just, it's not just them from the UK. There's other girls, you know, in other countries that look similar to me, that are a lighter skin tone, that I don't think should be saying the word either. And to be honest, I think if we're going to be taking this stance on the word, then we need to stamp it all out. It needs to get stamped out completely. And a lot of people feel that way as well. You know, I've seen comments, I've seen debates within the comments that, you know, people are saying if we're going to talk to this girl about her use of the word, then we need to be speaking to everyone about their use of the word.
Okay, I heard that, but then a lot of people would say that, like, when, for example, black people be using it, it's just, we know what we mean by it. Like, if I was to say, yo, man, to my friends, they know, like, what it is. There's no hidden meaning behind it. You get it? So that's why, to be fair, I think we shouldn't use the word, but it's just kind of where it is type of thing, but we shouldn't. But I feel like sometimes if other people say it, there could be a hidden connotation behind it. You don't know their true meaning when they say it.
And I can appreciate that perspective on it, and it hurts me inside to think that people will look at me and think that I would say the word with that motive behind it, because the same way you're explaining people saying the word is the same way I say the word. But you know, we'll end up going round and round in circles with this debate, because for me, my perspective on it from this point forward, and from what I've been saying for a little while now, is that because of the outrage, because of the offence that I've caused from saying the word, I won't be saying the word going forward in my music, because I don't need to, I don't want to, I'm not fighting to say the word. My reply online to the backlash, in hindsight, because hindsight is a great thing, I probably was a bit passionate. However, I'm more offended about the fact that people think they can debate who I am and where I'm from and what I stand for and call me a racist, because that's so far from who I actually am. That's what I find more upsetting than anything else, you know. Whether I can say the word or not is neither here nor there to me. I don't even think that it needs to carry on with me saying it, and I'm happy not to say it. That's my perspective on it at the moment, and that's how I will continue to see it. Won't be saying it in my music, won't be saying it online, won't be saying it in general. I'm even contemplating speaking to people that are actually around me and have been around me for a long time, and just saying to them, hey, you know what, I'd prefer if you didn't say the word around me. And hopefully, you know, if they're my real friends, if they really care about me, they're going to take into account everything that's been going on, and they'll listen to what I'm asking them.
No,
so,
definitely.
yeah.
No, I can appreciate that response, definitely. But now, because obviously another thing a lot of people had the issue with you with was that when you were trying to showcase, I guess, your blackness, quote unquote, a lot of people weren't really taking kindly to the fact that, like, you weren't up to a certain level of blackness or African, I guess. So, like, what's your thoughts on that?
I think for me, the only thing I take from that is ignorance. I'm going to be honest. I think to debate someone's level of blackness is a crazy thing to do. Yeah, I just find it very ignorant.
No, definitely. But then, because obviously a lot of people would say, like, when it comes to the word, like, at least one parent needs to be fully black in order for you to say that. And I think that's what people had issue with. Even when you showed your DNA tests, when it came back as 15%, 9% Nigerian and 6% West Africa, a lot of people had issue with that, because I guess maybe in America that's something that kind of slides because of the one drop rule over there, but here people will question that. So What's your take on that?
I think obviously for me, I'm being made aware of a lot more terms and labels that have been put into our society. Me personally, I've never really liked labels because I just think that's another way to box people in, and I don't really agree with that until it's necessary. And you know, some people are going to be certain that it's necessary in this instance to box me in a sense. You know, for example, I've never heard of the one drop rule. I've never heard of what was it you just mentioned? Needing to have one full black parent. I've never heard of these terms being used. I guess for me, I identify with my black heritage in the sense that, you know, the adversities that I face in life, and I don't want to keep repeating these things because I've gone on a few platforms now and I've spoken about this, just out of the pure respect that I have, and the fact that I think that this needs to be addressed, and just out of courtesy. You know, when you're growing up in a foster family in a very small, predominantly white village in the southwest of England, and everybody knows that you come from a black mum, whether in certain people's opinions she is fully black or not, to that demographic, she is black. And that's how I grew up. That's how I was perceived. That's how I was dealt with. That's how I was treated. Those are the adversities that I faced. So for me, I really identified with that side of my heritage more than anything else. I never met my father. I never had any Armenian culture instilled into me. And I felt ostracized from the culture that I was living in the country of. You know, the demographic of people in the southwest of England didn't make me feel white. You know, the ones that knew me and knew my family made it very clear I came from black heritage. And the ones that didn't know me would just assume I was Asian. You know, I would never get, oh, white girl. You know, I'd never get told I look like them. You know, we're talking about girls that have bone straight blonde hair, blue eyes. And however much in London people like to think I look similar to that, to them, I stick out like a sore thumb.
Okay. Because to be fair, like, I wouldn't, if I looked at you randomly, I've never met you, I wouldn't say you're English, but I would have thought you would probably be European, maybe from that somewhere in the Mediterranean. But I'll still class that as white in my eyes. But yeah, so I guess it's just different perspectives and living in different places. So in that case, do you identify yourself as a black woman?
No, and I never have. I never have.
Okay, what do you identify yourself as?
Mixed race.
Mixed race. Okay. But yeah, so how did it feel like getting all the backlash on Twitter, TikTok, even Reddit?
I haven't seen the Reddit.
Yeah, Reddit's crazy. But how do you feel about all the backlash you've been getting from loads of different people, the Twitter spaces?
I think it's expected on the internet. You know, there's a saying, the internet is undefeated. And I believe so. I think a lot of it is ignorance. I think a lot of it is quite upsetting to think that so many people are fueled by such segregation and division from what I've seen and read. And it's just interesting to see the difference in opinions, especially when it comes to something as serious as race, because that's what people have turned this debate into. I just think it's a very, very difficult and touchy subject to speak about, and I'm trying to speak about it in the most politically correct and respectful manner that I can. However, other people now, I think they maybe could have spoken about things in a more respectful manner, but that's, you know, I have no control over what any other grown-up person does. I just wish maybe that people thought a bit more before they spoke.
I hear that, but don't you feel like a lot of people kind of felt the need to be angry about it at the same time? Because to be fair, I spoke to a couple people prior to this interview, and a lot of them kind of took issue with the word being used, and I felt like at the beginning of the whole Twitter debacle, you're a bit headstrong on it as well. So a lot of people kind of took that and said, okay, so she said the word, and she's now moving arrogant about it as well. So, So maybe like do you kind of understand that level of backlash, and can you at least could you just like take it in from other people's like point of view and be like, understand why some people were angry at me?
Yeah, I can definitely see why there's anger, and like I said before, had I known it was going to cause this much outrage, I definitely wouldn't have put it in my music. It's upset me that it's caused this much anger, because I really didn't think it was going to do that. I've never been made to feel like this saying the word in my normal day-to-day life ever by anyone. So I genuinely just didn't see this coming. Can you repeat the question again?
Do you kind of understand like why people had a bit of backlash towards you in terms of, for example, when the song came out and then people took issue with you, you kind of came on. I'm not sure if arrogance is the right word, but you were a bit headstrong on it and like doubling down. Like, yeah.
I think people have obviously took issue with the fact that I repeated the word as well after,
even in spaces as well.
Yeah, and I think all I can say to that is bad habits die fast, die hard, right? So it was never going to just happen overnight. Oh, I'm just going to end up stop saying the word, because it's something that was being said to me after I brought the song out, after the initial outrage came. I'm being told one thing by people behind the scenes that know me and have known me for a very long time. No, I don't have a racist bone in my body, and know that I wouldn't be saying the word disrespectfully or in a hateful manner at all. So I'm getting that backlash of it, which is not, a bad backlash from it, but it's not also a good backlash from it in certain people's eyes, because they're just enabling me to carry on using it, right? And then obviously you've got the main backlash of people being highly offended and feeling very insulted. And like I keep saying, that was my last intention. And I think all I can take from it is, it's all very well people that know me not having a problem with me saying it, but people that don't know me and people that I want to listen to my music and people that I want to relate to me, people that I want to inspire, people that I want to motivate, I don't want them to take this as, oh, this is who she is, this is what she's about, because it's not. And it just hurts me that this is what it's been turned into, really.
What's your thoughts on the female rap scene right now?
The female rap scene right now, I think it's thriving. I think it's doing really well. It's at an interesting point, and I'm excited to see where it goes, definitely.
Okay, definitely. Like, who would you kind of like to work with in the UK?
Who would I like to work with in the UK? Okay, so I'll do an old school one and I'll do a new school.
Yeah.
So old school female MC would be Miss Dynamite. I would love to do a track with Miss Dynamite one day. Maybe I'm wishing on a cloud there. And then new school. Oh, I'm so torn because I'm quite multifaceted. So I've got like a chill side to me. I've got like a turn up side to me, just like everybody has, you know. But like, especially when it comes to music, I don't feel like I need to box myself in. Like I need to stay to one sound. Like I like to experiment. I like to have fun. So obviously, new school, one person would be Little Sims.
Okay.
I'd love to collab with Lil Sims one day. And who else? New school. Do you know what? I think we're too into the interesting part of female rap for me to say another new school, because there's so many new female rappers coming through at the moment. It's too interesting. It's too interesting for me to say someone else.
I know you were in prison at a point. Like, how was prison for you, and how comes you got yourself in prison? What happened?
So, you know, as I've told you, from 15, I've been in with wrong crowds, you could say. And I think it's just the typical situation of wrong time, wrong place. I went in for county lines. So it was a conspiracy as well. So that was very long-winded. I was on remand for a little while and I got sentenced to 4 years, 4 months. I did 2.5 in that inside and the rest on license. Okay. So yeah.
So like, how was your experience in prison?
My experience.
And was it a YOI, I'm guessing?
So women's jails are a bit different because there's not as many women's jails in the UK as there are men's. Like there's no women's jail in Wales. So all the women that get sentenced in Wales have to go to a prison in the UK. As far as I know, there's not a prison in Wales yet. So you have some women's prisons that are mixed YOIs. And you'll have YOIs with ACAT prisoners, which is a crazy thought.
Well, yeah, that
you know?
That is crazy. So yeah, but
I feel it for the women. I do, in a sense. Definitely.
Yeah. But how was your experience in jail? Like, did you learn anything inside, or?
For me personally, I really wanted to do a course that was based around destination management and events planning, because that's something I was interested in at the time. Unfortunately, because it wasn't with the Open University, they couldn't send the module research that I needed to complete the modules, because Open University has an email thing set up with the prisons, because obviously you can't access internet in there unless you have a tech, but not everybody has that luxury. So yeah, when I was in, the company that I wanted to do the course with didn't have the same email system set up that Open University had set up, and there wasn't any course with Open University that I felt was gonna stimulate me and that I'd be able to apply myself to and really like succeed in, unfortunately. So for me, I didn't really benefit from being in prison, but it's definitely a place where it is what you make it. And I just don't recommend anyone go there. Do not fuck up your life and go to prison. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It's a waste of time. A complete waste of time. Wasted my whole early 20s from 21 to 23 inside. I don't recommend that to anyone.
No, definitely, man. Yes, Because the amount of money you miss out when you're inside as well, you got another person telling you what to do, what to eat, when to wake up. That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's not the one.
But could you tell me your craziest story inside?
My craziest story inside. There's a few.
What one is front of mind?
So the craziest one was probably one girl had tea for another girl's tech.
Okay.
And she'd moved to a different landing as she was on my landing. And I wasn't really in the loop. Like me, I keep my head down. I'd just focus on what I'm doing. Focus on my bird, do my bird, get out. But obviously you hear the Chinese whispers that this girl has got this other girl's phone and she wants it back now. All of a sudden, afternoon unlock, we see this girl at the gate before the gate's been open for afternoon movement. She's just barged through onto the landing, run up in the other girl's cell. Luckily, other people had their eyes on it and one person jumped in the cell to kind of intervene and stop it getting too crazy. But that was crazy because it's not really easy to get on a different landing. Like you have to be quite sneaky to get on the landing in the first place, and then to have a full-blown fight behind the door, that's not easy. And on the basis that my girl was coming to get her tech back and she got it, you know, that was a crazy time in prison, definitely.
Definitely. Did you ever yourself get into any fights inside, or?
Me, myself, I just tried to keep my head down, you know. I definitely did get into one fight one time. Basically, because I didn't want someone, and I had left a note on their bed saying I didn't want them. Their new girl had seen the note on their bed and tried to address me about it. When there were loads of officers around, we were just getting locked in the evening. And it was like, you're trying to draw me out in front of everybody. Like, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get an adjudication. Like, I don't want this. Like, why are you doing this now? Just come behind my door when it's calm. So she's been dragged off kicking and screaming by this girl that I didn't want. And the girl that's dragged her off, she said to her, "Oh, you've embarrassed me. Why aren't you getting on to Certy? Why are you embarrassing me?" So then, because she's saying that, she's saying, "So you have to fight Certy. Because you embarrassed me, you have to fight Certy." So then I'm like, well, I can't win. So I just said, you know what? Let's go behind the door then. Plaited up my hair, kicked off my flip-flops, and we had a little tear up.
Okay.
It always makes me laugh when people are swinging at you with their hardest bangs. Like, you know, they really want to hurt you, and you're just there like, it's not really doing what you want it to do. Like, you ain't got the minerals for that. Like, all I remember is I gave her one kick. She went flying. Her toilet got broke up. And yeah, that was it. She started trying to pull my hair, and I said, yeah, that's me done. If you need to start pulling hair, then that's wet.
No, definitely. I heard that, man. I heard that. But yeah, so what plans do you have in future? Is there any new releases that you're due to drop? Any collabs coming?
Yeah.
Talk about it.
So I definitely want to bring out a few more songs, maybe 1 or 2 collabs, 1 or 2 features, and then I want to start working on a project like an EP or a mixtape, and yeah, just keep pushing.
Therefore, could you kind of like give us some behind the scenes, like maybe tell us some collabs that are coming in?
I can't give you it set in stone, but I definitely think there's something exciting on the cards. I can tell you that.
Okay, no, that's good to know. That's good to know, man. I'm wishing you the best with this stuff, man. I'm wishing you the best.
Thank you.
And literally, man, just like, stay focused, man. Stay focused. But yeah, Certy, thank you for coming down. I appreciate you, man. Like, we kind of, yeah, I actually hit you up like kind of like last minute. So I'm thankful that you came down, man. Cheers for coming.
No, I'm very grateful for you giving me this platform. I appreciate it. Yeah, just thank you for having me.